Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. Today we're going to use Stirling grapefruit soap. Haven't used this one yet. And of course we're going to use the Brush of the Gods Plus On. It's been so long since I said that, I figured I'd say it again, and it gets under the skin of some folks for whatever reason, so there you are. Today is 9/11. I always forget to show this, which is a sacred day for those of us, in the U.S., the 15th anniversary of 9/11, where the terrorists took down a couple of our buildings, and hit the Pentagon, and some brave heroes were able to crash Flight 93 and avert more damage. So it's a very solemn day today, but we do want to remember all the folks who both lost their lives and the emergency services personnel who some lost their lives and others risked their lives in saving others. Keep in mind, when we talk about police, firefighters, EMTs, all emergency service personnel, they ran into those burning buildings. And when they did, to save people, they didn't ask what color anyone was. They just ran in and saved people. And with respect to police or firefighters, when there's a fire or an incident where they have to run in and save people, they don't ask what color. They just bring in the action. So although we know there are some bad police, some bad firefighters, some bad everything, the stereotype that they're against minorities is way out of whack. When you see what they do day in, day out, they go to save people's lives, put their lives on the line, oftentimes lose their life in the pursuit of saving others. It's something to really think about. Stand by, wet the face, and we'll get going. Get my mirror over here so I can see a little bit. Last night, a buddy and I went to see Kiss. Yeah, they're old now, but I've been a Kiss fan, basically most of my life. They're, old, but let me tell you, they still put on a great show. I mean, it's phenomenal. They can do what they do at their age, and the respect and reverence that they showed to the flag last night in Veterans. They stopped the show about halfway through to recognize some veterans from here in West Virginia, and a local organization gave away a mortgage-free home to a wounded combat veteran, and they honored him. And KISS gave away, I think, $150,000 last night to a veterans charity. And they recited the pledge with the crowd. And let me tell you, there wasn't a person sitting down in that Coliseum anywhere. Everyone had hand on heart. Everyone had reverence and respect for the flag and what it means. And I think, in this Kaepernick situation, a lot of folks don't understand what the flag represents to many, not all, but many, and especially for veterans. It's very heartfelt. If you've ever been to a funeral with military honors where that flag is handed to a survivor family member, it is a very sacred thing. So when people like Colin Kaepernick do what they do and show disrespect for the flag or the national anthem, it's very hurtful to those people. And I know it's not his intention, but it doesn't matter what your intention is. All right. For example, if I went to Washington, D.C. on Martin Luther King Day and protested the violence in the black communities, that would not be appropriate. That is a day to honor Dr. King and his contributions. And for me to go to protest a legitimate issue would be wrong, because it's just not appropriate. So this is what I think people miss. It's not that Kaepernick doesn't have the right to sit if he wants to. He certainly does. And those of us who serve for his right to do so. But he should also be respectful and mindful of the fact of how sacred that flag is to many who served, who have lost family members, and people who are currently serving. And it's a big deal. Stand by for past two. And I always say, just because you can do something, you have the right to do it, doesn't mean you should. when you're trying to bring attention to a cause, you don't have to be disrespectful to large groups of people in doing so. He has a legitimate issue. There's no question about it. There are bad cops. There is social injustice in this country. It's not even up for debate. That's a fact. However, he could have brought awareness to that issue in any number of ways that did not offend, particularly veterans. And some veterans are not bothered by it, and that's okay. But I'm here to tell you, a great many are, and they don't appreciate it. And so for Colin Kaepernick, a guy who has taken advantage of all this country has to offer and has achieved because of this country, to show a lack of awareness of what that means to people, is disrespectful. And there's no other way to put it. And I don't care how you choose to rationalize it. It's disrespectful to a great many people. For the same reason that people are bothered by the rebel flag or the old Confederate flag, and in many places took it down, people are likewise bothered when you disrespect the United States flag. Right? So everyone understands that there are folks in this country who feel that the Confederate flag represents the worst period in American history. All right? And that's absolutely understandable. There are other folks who feel like it's just a part of history. It's part of their heritage, not promoting slavery or advocating for slavery, but it's part of their heritage. Maybe they had family members who served in the Confederate Army, what have you. And so they look at that flag as being part of history, not really an offensive thing. But there's a great many people who feel that represents something very bad. And out of respect for those people, most people have chosen not to fly those flags anymore, understanding that while they might not be offended by it, someone else may be offended by it. So that's just showing respect and understanding that, you know, you have to have some consideration for people. And this is what Colin Kaepernick misses. All right, he totally misses it. Stand by. And by the way, I spoke on this some in my IMCDB channel yesterday. You can go check that video out at imcdb.com. And what I said yesterday on that video in part was, you know, part of the situation that bothered me with Kaepernick is not only was he trying to bring awareness, which is okay, but he was trying to antagonize. He had on the pig socks, which was clearly a shot at police officers. And to stereotype that way, you know, if you're a minority, people don't like to be stereotyped, or no one does for that matter. And likewise, police don't like to be stereotyped and lumped all into one pot. And it's always interesting to me that the people who hate stereotypes the most will do it to others. You'd think they'd be the most considerate. Go, you know, I don't like it when it's done to me. I'm not going to do it to others. No such consideration. People like Kaepernick and these other knuckleheads. And so, it's disrespectful, and it probably hurts an otherwise noble cause because it turns people off. And if you can't get your message across in a way that can garner support from the masses, you're not going to get much done. And if you're alienating people in doing so, you're not either. The other thing about him was, he was at a press conference and he had a Malcolm X shirt on with Fidel Castro. You know, multiple squares of Fidel Castro. And again, it shows a significant ignorance on his part to be trying to advocate for people who he thinks are oppressed, and they are in some cases, and then to go and wear someone on your t-shirt who oppressed millions, I'm guessing, of Cubans. And I got deployed to Guantanamo Bay in 1994 when I was in the service because Cuban migrants were fleeing Cuba at a rapid clip. There were thousands of migrants on Guantanamo Bay that we were taking care of that were fleeing Castro and his regime. And they were riding 90 miles on rafts and rickety vessels that you wouldn't even go to the beach with and surf, or not surf waves, but ride waves. I'm serious. You can't imagine the risk that those people took. And for Kaepernick, again, social crusader, to show that level of ignorance leads me to believe he's very misguided at best, and an idiot, most likely. And what was a good thing he was doing, he made an ass and a debacle of it. And that's sad. And one of the things I would do is, when I see these idiots trying to speak for me, I say, no, he does not speak for me. And so I would urge people who don't agree with Kaepernick to say, you do not speak for me. You don't want some idiot like that, going up with a friggin' Fidel Castro shirt on, talking about social injustice. It doesn't fit people. All right, stand by. Enough preaching. We'll rinse the face and do our witch hazel. Stand by. Got it mostly rinsed. Not 100%, but that's okay. We'll go with our Thayer's Magic, because it's made by witches. The razor today, by the way, was it's a Weber on a Jurgen Hempel titanium handle, which is wonderful, wonderful razor. The head of that was actually given to me by Justin from Shave Revolution. And Justin closed his shop, and I haven't talked to him because I've been out to it, and I hated to see that because, man, he was one of the good ones. I mean, he really was one of the good guys. Excellent customer service. He cared about the customer. He wasn't just trying to, separate people for their money. What a wonderful guy. So I wish him a lot of success in whatever venture he embarks upon next. All right, today we're going to roll with the wonderful Don Marco. Joe, you should start making this again. This is good stuff. Don't discontinue the Don Marco. I know you have, but resurrect it, because a lot of people like it. And a lot of people tell me they'd like to see it back. And I love it. This is one of my favorite orange type scents. It's beautiful. At least I think it is, for what that's worth. All right. One final thought. And I put this sort of at the end of my video yesterday. Don the Navy Goat, our good friend, lost his stepson to an illness a couple weeks ago. So if you could, keep Don in your thoughts. Say a prayer for him. Wonderful man, veteran, and I respect him a lot. And Don, prayers, thoughts and prayers are with you. Thanks, guys, for watching today. Today's football day. The Saints playing the Raiders. Let's get it done today, Saints. Who dat? Raiders are tough, so it'll be a tough game. Win or lose, I'm still going to be a Saints fan, though. You guys have a wonderful day, and as always, keep them up, keep them open, follow the money to get to the truth.